Well, hello again, my beginnings people. I'm so happy to get another call back. It's a little bit chilly in my office. We just had a snowstorm when I'm recording, so um, I'll be bundled up a little bit. But Janet asked me to chat today about quick and easy meals that I can make so that I can feel like I'm doing a good job, but not order out so much. So I hear you, everybody. I hear you. I've got a couple of techniques that I use. Um, and I use very, very frequently at my house and also with clients. And I also have a list here of just easy meals to make. And I'm happy to just kind of list through them so that you can, some of them you think, oh yeah, I used to do that and I forget. So it's nice to just have a list. If you guys want the list, I'm happy to forward it off to Janet so you guys can get it. Sometimes it's the thinking of what to make. It's not even sometimes, the thinking of what to make harder than the making it. I remember having a big discussion with my husband most recently, and I said, I just don't know what to make. Um, and he said, well, you tell me what to make and I'll make it. And I said, no, that's not, that's not what's happening here. It's the what to make that's hard. So then I started, instead of, I've always done a meal plan, a loose meal plan. But instead of me thinking it all up, I go to each member of my household and I say, what would you like to eat this week? So it helps me with grocery shopping and it helps me with that sound that I don't like to hear when people say, what's for supper? And doesn't matter what I say, somebody's going to say, oh, I hate that sound. So at least somebody every day is happy with what they've chosen. I also have had to make a rule that they're not allowed to choose pizza because somebody was always choosing pizza. So pizza is just always on the list somewhere, whether we make it at home or whether that's our order in for the week. But they have to pick something unique and different. So that has been very, very helpful. The biggest two techniques that I use, and it really is using leftovers creatively, is purposely cooking too much of one thing and then having it for tomorrow, whether it's for lunch or for supper. I usually dress it a little bit differently though. So for example, if I was gonna have, I was gonna make a chicken in the crock pot, whether it's whole or in pieces, I'll make a crock pot full of it. And the night that I cook that crock pot, by the way, pull that out, that's a lifesaver. Throw some stuff in there and let it go all day. All those utensils and tools that we thought were going to change our lives, they can, we got to pull them out. I'll put a bunch of chicken in there and purposefully save some. So at my house, I have a couple of teenagers. So at my house, I have to pull out what I'm saving on purpose before I say it's supper time. And I have to put a note on it that says, don't eat me, I have plans. Because it has happened that I go to get the chicken and I say, hey man, where's that chicken? Oh, we ate it. Well, that was what we were going to have for supper. So now you're in charge of supper. So I might have, roasted chicken or crock pot chicken with potatoes and carrots or whatever I throw in the crock pot. And then the next night or two nights later, I might make chicken burritos or chicken quesadillas, or I might do a chicken pot pie or something. So I'm using the chicken. The cooked chicken is the most time-consuming part of the next ingredient, so that's already done. I will also take that chicken, chop it up, and put it in the freezer so I can pull stuff out really, really quick. That has been very, very helpful for me. Also, you can do that with roast beef, you can do that with sausages, you can do that with you can do that with peas, like you can do that with just about anything. Another thing that I do is called ground meat batch cooking. So when ground beef or ground chicken or ground turkey is on sale, I'll pick up, or that section in the grocery store where you can get the family pack of ground meat and it's like 30% off because it's going to go bad tomorrow. You got to use it up. I will absolutely buy that. I'll take the time to cook it all at once with onions, carrots, celery, whatever vegetables I've got, garlic for sure. I always put garlic and stuff, but I don't put maybe some pepper. I don't put any more spice in there because then I can take that vegetables and meat, freeze it, usually in like 2-cup baggies, like I'll measure out 2 cups at a time or 3 cups, depending on how big your family is, so that next month, I can pull out that and I freeze it flat. So I take my, I don't think I have a little bag here. I'll put my meat in my bag and then I'll flatten it out like that and then pile it up in the freezer. So it doesn't take as much room in the freezer and it takes a lot less time to thaw out. And I can put it in the frying pan frozen and it thaws out very, very quickly because it's only a centimeter thick. Then I can make tacos really fast. I can make spaghetti sauce really fast. I can do any kind of ground meat casserole in the crock pot really fast because the cooking of the ground meat is the hard part, the part that takes time. That has been extremely helpful. I've actually had my family say, well, you didn't make these tacos tonight. Like you clearly just had that and it was frozen food and you got it from the grocery store. No, I made it tonight. Yes, it's frozen food, but it's my frozen food. That feels nice. So those kinds of things can make a really big difference. I can give you a couple of more examples. Last night I cooked chicken tornadoes. Are you guys familiar with chicken tornadoes? Frozen. It's a convenience item, but they don't spice it very much. It's just a piece of chicken and then it's wrapped in bacon. I think I get a big pack at Food Basics for $10. It'll do 3 meals for my family. Well, 3 suppers for my family. What I ended up doing last night is I cooked some extra ones and put them aside. And then today for lunch, I'm going to chop that all up into little tiny diced pieces, put it in a wrap, call it chicken club wraps because it's got chicken and bacon in it. It's leftovers, technically. It doesn't take a lot of time for me. It's homemade and it tastes different because it's not the same thing. That really does help me out a lot. I also I'm a big fan of breakfast for supper. Gosh, I'm a big fan of breakfast for lunch even. So if I have French toast or scrambled eggs, those are very, very fast. Everybody likes it. It's very inexpensive. It doesn't take a lot of time. So those are the kinds of things that I would often do. I think the trick, especially with parents who are worried about, oh, we're eating out a lot because I feel like I don't have time to cook a healthy meal. We're expecting too much of ourselves, whatever a healthy meal means. I think a lot of people expect that means it's got to be hot. It's got to be, some kind of roasted meat or big, mashed potatoes and stuff that we might have had our grandparents or our parents cook. And a meal doesn't have to be that involved. It just has to be have that plate, right? So you got some fruits and veg, you got some grains, you got some protein. Call it a meal. Don't get too excited about it. It can be, there was one that I used to love when my sons did a lot of sports when they were little. We would have a picnic in the car because I just got home from commuting and we had to go back out to soccer. And I would make, I called them banana hot dogs. Listen, sometimes it's how you sell it, right? Which was just a banana and a tortilla wrap with peanut butter, and I rolled it up, banana hot dog. If you slice it and turn it around, it's banana sushi. Sell it however you need to sell it. My son was like, "This is the best invention, Mom." Hey, you're welcome. And then, some grapes, and I've got some milk. So we went and that's what we had for supper. And that absolutely counts as a complete and healthy supper. Doesn't have to be hot. It doesn't have to be hot every night. So I'm just going to pull out my little sheet here, my cheat sheet for other simple meals to make. I'm going to read through some of them for you. So it's split up breakfast, lunch, supper, but I'm going to argue you can have these anytime. It doesn't matter. I can make pancakes for supper. That counts. My husband actually makes something called Volcano Pancakes, which is a pancake dish that bakes in the oven. So you mix it all up and then put it in the oven and walk away for 30 minutes. And then it comes out of the pan like it's molten lava growing out of the pan. Hey, my kids thought that was a fun show for a little while. Happy to link that link. Listen to me like I'm a YouTuber. I'm happy to send that recipe if people want it as well. It's I think it takes 6 eggs and then you just whip it up in its volcano pancakes very quick. I mean, if we're going to have French toast, I think I might have mentioned that's one of my favorites as well, whether it's lunch or supper or breakfast. Peanut butter sandwich, beans and toast. Really fast and easy. You can cook those beans from scratch in your crock pot. I have that recipe if you want it. And then you've got beans for days, like for days. I tend to have to freeze those as well. Macaroni and cheese or macaroni casserole. So whether that's going to use some of that frozen beef, whether that's going to have tuna in it, whether you want to put beans or chickpeas or something in it to make it vegetarian. Tasty, easy, quick. A tuna melt or a tuna wrap. Those two things are just sandwiches, but they look and feel different, so they're more interesting. But the ingredients are the same, and it's not that much more work as well. Let me see if there's anything else here that I really love. Egg salad sandwiches, we do forget about that. If you've got boiled eggs, you can boil eggs, and as long as you leave not the peel, the shell on your boiled eggs, you can put them in the fridge and they'll last for 4 or 5 days in the fridge. It starts to stink after that just because it's eggs, but then I've got boiled eggs ready to go anytime I want, whether it's a snack or if you want to just have boiled eggs for lunch or if you want to make egg salad. What do we got here? Fish in the oven. I will also say, I don't know if people are familiar with the frozen bags of pierogies that you can buy. The ingredients on that are excellent. Like there's nothing in there that I wouldn't put in there if I was making my own pierogies, and I don't want to make my own pierogies because they're a pain in the butt and they take a long time. But I will put those on a cookie sheet in the oven at 400 for 20 minutes as though they were oven fries. Come out delightful. You don't have to boil them and then fry them and have onions and bacon and all that kind of stuff. It tastes better. I'm not going to deny that anything with onions and bacon tastes better, but it takes a lot less time and a lot less effort. So I might put fish and pierogies in the oven, walk away for 20 minutes, come back, and we're ready to go for supper. Spaghetti sauce, whether it's in the crock pot or if you want to cook it on the oven. Meatloaf is a really a nice one. I don't love meatloaf, but I love meatloaf sandwiches the next day. And one of my favorite things to do is I'll use a muffin tin and make meatloaf muffins instead of one big loaf. I'll make a bunch of little ones. Looks different. It takes much less time to cook. Instead of an hour to cook, it only takes 20, 25 minutes. And then I can toss those in the freezer like little meatloaf pucks and pull them out anytime I want as well. Don't forget about your salmon as well. You can make salmon chowder, you can make salmon loaf, you can make like a creamy linguine pasta with salmon. We used to call it pink pasta. That kind of stuff is really different and tasty and doesn't need to take more than 20 minutes if you know how to do a really good white sauce. Which I also have a microwave recipe for if you're interested. I might just send some of these, Janet, just so you've got them preemptively. Chili or stew in the crock pot or in your Instapot. If you don't have a crock pot or Instapot and you're interested, check Goodwill regularly. They almost always have a crock pot and it's like $7 and you can plug it in there to see if it works. And stir fries are also really fast, especially if you've got cooked chicken from the night before or cooked pork chop that you can just kind of chop up and put in there. You can use frozen vegetables, like a nice mixed frozen vegetable, even a really nice Oriental mix. They've got such nice mixes now. Toss that in, your cooked meat, you get a little bit of sauce, rice or noodles, done and done. Really, really easy. And I make extra because that's really nice to go home to for lunch. So there's a couple. Well, that's more than a couple. That's a good handful of other ideas, but just keep in mind that it doesn't have to be hot or traditional to be healthy. As long as you got a little bit of everything on there, your fruit, veg, your grain, and your protein foods, call it complete and call it a day. It might be a weird mix mash of stuff and that still counts. Give ourselves a break. I would also say, I don't know that takeout is terrible, quite frankly. We plan for it once a week, partially because, well, we like it, partially because I need a break, partially because we want to support our local restaurants that we love and we don't want them to close. So I will either order out once a week, or what I've started doing since COVID is I will purchase more convenient type products, and we call it pub night. So my sons are teenagers, so we sit around We get fancy drinks with fancy curly straws. And then we might have, you know, some, what do we have this week? I think I bought jalapeno poppers and chicken burgers. So we might have something like that. I'll make a salad, and that's what we would get if we were going to a restaurant. So that kind of thing also takes the heat off, and you can still have some convenient stuff. But if you're planning, the planning is the key. So you can use those leftovers differently and well. And a freezer can be helpful too. I hope that that was something you were looking for. Please know that anybody at any time, if you're looking for a little bit of help with meal planning or a little bit of help with recipes, or I only have this and that and I don't know what to cook, or I get quite a few calls, well, I've got these many kids and one of them is a vegetarian and I don't want to make 3 meals. What can I do? Those kinds of problems, we can hash that out together over the phone with a nice big brainstorm. I'm happy to be helpful. You can call me directly. Janet has my information. I've been about 16 minutes, so I'm going to call it there. And I am going to forward some of those recipes, if I remember them, to you guys so that you can try them out. I only forward recipes I have tried and I like. I'm not interested in, you can Pinterest all you want. You don't need to get that from me. Okay, take care, everybody. Nice to be invited back. Talk soon.